皆様、お時間となりましたので、カンファレンスを再開いたします。ここからは What is the Web3 Metaverse をテーマにしたピッチです。事前に収録しました映像をご覧ください。
Hi everyone, this is Adam. I work for Portals, a web-based metaverse platform that we've been building for about a year and a half now. I want to say thank you to the Web3 Conference Tokyo for having us. We're happy to be hosting one of the first of the larger scale events happening inside of Portals. So I wanted to spend a bit of time talking about what the Web3 Metaverse is and some of the differences between the next wave of virtual worlds that are coming online in Web3. So, what are some of the differences between Web2 virtual worlds and Web3 virtual worlds? And then we'll talk a little bit about the Portals Metaverse, a bit of the backstory and what we think is interesting and unique about Portals. So, what is the Metaverse? You have a lot of different elements that people are, basically defining as the metaverse. So there's things like virtual worlds, social, ability to transact. You can play games, maybe. Internet in 3D. You can do events, VR, Web3. All of these are kind of different elements that are parts of what people are calling metaverse platforms. But it's still really early in terms of the full picture and the full value that we think the metaverse is going to provide for people. But so a lot of different approaches, a lot of different designs for building out a new metaverse platform. But I think what everyone can agree on is that there's going to be multiple virtual worlds. It's not just going to be one corporate entity controlling the whole metaverse. So we will then go into some of what people are calling metaverse, maybe Second Life when it first came out in 2003 in the Web 2 era was already sort of being looked at as a metaverse. And then, as things have evolved, newer platforms like Fortnite and Roblox, they're definitely showing elements of metaverse. So if we go back, they both have Fortnite and Roblox have virtual worlds, they're social, you can transact, you can play games. They're not quite interoperable yet, but you do have, brands coming into Fortnite and brands coming into Roblox. So they are more platforms than they are games, first and foremost. So, and then you have the next generation of, Web3 first platforms that are building metaverse platforms where you can kind of do all of those things in terms of, it's a place for socializing, playing games. Some are web-based, some aren't. But to maybe break down some of the significant differences between Web 2 and Web 3 and those metaverse platforms, we're looking at, if we're defining Web 2, Web 2 platforms, they're almost always going to be centrally owned. They're going to control your data. Digital items are not really yours to kind of take to other platforms, at least currently. And then with Web 3, you really do see this shift where a lot of people are experimenting with, community ownership and governance, decentralized data, so the individual can kind of, control who is allowed to access what part of their data. And then, digital items are obviously transferable as NFTs. So those all lead to kind of a very interesting playground for which to experiment with kind of this next wave of metaverse platforms that we see popping up. So, are Web3 metaverse platforms going to be the future? I think we're definitely going to see a lot of blurred lines between Web 2 platforms adopting Web 3 features. So you can just look at some of the founders of the Web 2 companies, if they are embracing Web 3. So Fortnite, for example, or Epic Games, and Tim Sweeney, they're very interested in the concept of a metaverse. You could argue that they have been pretty much bringing that whole concept of a metaverse to the masses and doing it in a way that really makes sense from a product standpoint. So Fortnite running events and concerts with what started as a battle royale video game is really embracing this idea of brands, and Tim Sweeney has talked about being able to take something that you have as an item in Roblox and bring it into Fortnite, right? So you can't do that yet, but these Web2 platforms that maybe they're centrally owned, I think you will see that they'll start to adopt some of the Web3 features, like being able to kind of bring your items from one place to another, right? So again, you can't do that now, but will you be able to in the future? Can you play as a Bored Ape inside of Fortnite? I wouldn't bet against it, being that Epic Games is very much open to the concept of a metaverse. So it will be really interesting to see, how that plays out over the long run, where with kind of the next wave of Web3 platforms that are Web3 first, that are interoperable from the very beginning, it'll be interesting to see, how that plays out, how the market sort of embraces that. So this is a screenshot of Portals, and we can start to talk a little bit about what we're doing, why we decided to build a metaverse platform. But this is a screenshot of within Portals, and it's showing 4 different Solana NFT projects. So you're able to buy an NFT from one of the any of the open marketplaces that you can buy an NFT from in the Solana world, and bring them into Portals and play as them. So that's one of the features that we have planned and have been testing for a little while. Another example that's kind of small, but Ready Player Me avatars that are inside of Portals, they are definitely embracing Web3 and interoperability. So you can, if you own a CryptoPunk on Ethereum, you could bring that into your Ready Player Me avatars settings. You can basically import it. And because Portals integrates Ready Player Me, you can actually play as a CryptoPunk inside of Portals right off the bat. So that works with other NFT projects as well. So very cool that all of that is interoperable from the start. We'll talk a little bit about the metaverse that we're building at Portals and what we think makes it unique. So we started out in early 2020 we were all personally really excited about the concept of a metaverse, and we're just looking to kind of jump into one and play around. And back in 2020, it didn't seem like anything that we tried. We kind of tried all the metaverse platforms that were out there, and there wasn't really anything that really struck a chord with us. We were wondering where the super high quality, awesome, Apple, Nintendo level of care when it comes to user experience, where that was exactly, right? When in the Web3 world, there wasn't really anything like that. So fast forward to 2021, we saw that there still didn't seem to be anybody building a metaverse that a web-based metaverse that we would really want to use. So we kind of took all of these ideas that we had in early 2020 and just said, okay, let's start building it. It still doesn't seem like that's happening. So some of the original concept for Portals was something like Animal Crossing meets the metaverse. So we were thinking about things that were just very instantly usable and interesting and fun right off the bat. So the idea of, being able to jump in to a room and start decorating it with items, being able to choose your furniture, display your favorite art, put your favorite music on, and then just being able to send anyone a link in the browser sounded like a really cool concept as a starting point for building something bigger. And one of the bigger things that we were looking for when it came to an engaging metaverse platform was a city, a central hub where a lot of things are going on. You can imagine like a single city block with 100 stores to walk into, and we didn't really see that emerging in 2020 or 2021. So again, kind of looking at that initial idea of being able to kind of build out a space of yours in the metaverse and giving people the tools to build something that they can kind of express themselves creatively, they can turn it into whatever kind of space that they want, and then using that to populate the city center. So people could click and drag to open stores, or set up a storefront, set up a comedy club, whatever it may be. We really wanted it to just be fun to build and really easy to build and extremely accessible. So again, the browser, it all being in the browser was really important. So go into just some more footage of where we are currently. But again, all of this runs in the browser. This is some examples of, the building tools, which, we've been building this for about 1.5 years now. So still pretty early in terms of typical, game development cycles, but you can see that a lot of people are already using it across the world for social gatherings like hangouts and poker tournaments and conferences. Here's kind of the early version of our soft launch of the downtown city center. So this is what I was talking about earlier in terms of what we're trying to build as like a central hub, a central starting point. User experience is our number one concern always. It's like, let's make sure that this is a super, super cool first time experience for people that are coming in. And so that's why we're still kind of in this soft launch stage of the city center, because we want to have a lot more activity, a lot more things to do. But we're rolling those out. So right now you can go into the art gallery, you can go to an arcade, the item shop will have different things every day for you to check out. And we're slowly rolling that out. So I think brands really responded to this when in October, right around the time that we were launching, October 2021, brands really saw that as a web-based accessible metaverse platform, there would be this is really cool, it looks great, we can really represent, we can create a storefront in one place and have lots of people visit it and create these really cool experiences. And brands as well can do AMAs, they can run a storefront, and they could just make a really fun, interesting space. So it was really cool to see that right away a lot of all kind of the biggest names in Web3 and crypto jumped right on board with Portals, because we were kind of doing it in this different way, our different approach to very easy to build, having a hub central point as the starting area. And then we also took kind of a different approach to even, building out city streets. This is an example of the first district that we're building, but essentially anybody that owns one of the Portals NFTs can form a district. So, OpenSea and Solana as examples here, they can decide to kind of create a group and create a street inside of Portals. So that is definitely different than just kind of selling a bunch of land on an open area, which is another approach. And one of the advantages of, we think that this is going to do with this approach of, separate districts is it does allow these streets to almost operate as mini DAOs in terms of, they can sort of choose what neighbors to bring in, and they don't have to worry about, anybody just kind of buying a plot of land next to them. So that is an example of that. So we're rolling out lots and lots of stuff. I mentioned that the we're seeing just tons of people kind of building their own spaces. So a lot of people are really, really excited to build out those, the internal spaces that we were showing earlier. You'll also be able to kind of build out the buildings like this with a similar interface. You'll be able to just click and drag in the browser and choose what your building looks like. So choosing from different building block items, you can arrange a building like this and put it on a city center street. So super excited about everything that's happening with what we're building. We first and foremost want to build something that people really love, and we have an amazing community that is, they do really see the passion that our team that has kind of started building this have for the project, and the care that we have for user experience. And we're feeling really good about the people that really do already. The early adopters really do love what we're doing already. And then I'll just talk real quickly about why we're doing this, and I'll kind of one of the main first things kind of going back to 2020 that we weren't really seeing in terms of like an awesome onboarding into a virtual city in the metaverse. Like we just didn't see that. So just for the entertainment value of being able to explore a virtual city that was really well designed and has a lot of cool things to see and do right off the bat, that was one of the motivations. I mentioned the accessibility and just the level of quality of doing something that people really love. And we also thought it was a really awesome opportunity with audio chat. You can see with platforms like Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces that audio chat very often is a lot better for online conversations. You just get kind of a better back and forth, long form format for conversation. So that was one of the other things that we think can be really powerful when it comes to building something that makes online conversations better. So that is kind of our our main motivations in a nutshell. I'll be hanging out in the Portal's conference center where we're doing this live stream. So if you have any questions, I will be hanging out there. Then here's also some more info on how to get in touch. And that will do it. Thank you.